Hey everyone, welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and it is the July 21st edition of AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest Night 2. And everyone, I mean, usually we come on here and I feel like we have to talk about a newsworthy show, right? We usually have this very newsworthy AEW Dynamite to talk about, but today you can say that the action kind of got started way before AEW Dynamite did. It's been a very newsworthy, eventful day. If anything, I will go as far as to I'm definitely going to go ahead and say it. If you are a wrestling fan, this is a very, very great time to be a wrestling fan. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. We got forbidden doors being knocked down. We got the potential of some, very popular people going to very popular places. And so it is a very exciting time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, also this week, literally the last couple of days has been absolutely non-stop, everyone. I mean, non-stop. Let's rewind to Friday. We had the return of crowds on Smackdown. We had that big old thing to talk about. Then we talked about Slammiversary. Then we jumped into Money in the Bank. Then we had that very wild edition of Raw. And then we had a somewhat interesting episode of NXT. And now here we are talking about AEW Dynamite. I feel like these last couple of days in wrestling, it has been, and I feel you guys as fans obviously kind of feel this way too, information has been coming from every single direction, just hitting us in the head like a ball, because there is just so much. I feel like I'm in a wrestling news dodgeball game, all right? It's just coming from every direction. But we're going to talk about everything that went down on Dynamite today. Obviously, we'll talk about CM Punk. We'll talk about those Daniel Bryan rumors, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you guys want to go ahead and call Daniel Bryan as of this moment. And we're going to talk about all of that, because also also, there were a lot of surprises today on Dynamite as well. And I have a feeling that we're just going to keep on getting more. Okay. So we will run through the show chronologically. However, for those of you who are new to the show, this is a very interactive show. I will be reading your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your statements, whatever they are on this show here today. Also, if you want to make sure that your comment gets read on the air, 100% guaranteed, you guys can go ahead and send in those super chats. If you do send in a super chat, I will read your comments for sure. And also, I will make sure to obviously also thank you. And I do get to keep 100% of all money that I make from the super chat. So I do thank you guys in advance for those. And we already kind of got a few. So I'm going to kick things off with those. And then we're going to go ahead and kind of move on from there. But we got our first super chat. This one is from iChurch Pastor Blaster, who says, "Hey, Denise. AEW is really setting the table for something great. It definitely feels that way. It feels like they are setting the table for, Christmas dinner, because they are really putting out their finest china out there. They're bringing out all the gifts. They got the lights up. They got the Christmas tree. It feels like the holidays right now. We're definitely not in the holidays, but you all get what I mean. AEW is definitely making a lot of moves right now, a lot of moves to get the product, on another level. It definitely feels that way. I feel like when Tony Khan tweeted a couple months back, I don't know how much the time frame is now, but when he did send out that tweet that there was going to be a lot of things happening in AEW, turns out he really meant it, guys, because there are so many things that look to be in play here today. We have another super chat. This one is from Wrestling Gamer, who says, "Why is AEW promoting Nick Gage? Trash like that belongs in the dumpster." Okay, so first and foremost, all right, so I do read every super chat that you guys send in. This is a democracy. You guys are all allowed your opinions. However, I do not agree with this opinion whatsoever. I am a fan of Nick Gage, and I like Nick Gage. I'm excited for Nick Gage. I've worked on shows with Nick Gage, so I do have to say that I am happy for him. Obviously, you guys all saw that Dark Side of the Ring episode, so I know a lot of people are going to obviously have their own opinions of Nick Gage, but I do not subscribe to those opinions right now because I'm a fan of Nick Gage. And again, I've worked with him on shows. Really nice guy, and I have nothing bad to say about Nick Gage. So I'm actually happy. But again, guys, if you do send in a super chat, I will read your super chat. Let's try to be a little bit more kinder, but I'll definitely read your super chats. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's see. Oh, we're getting so many comments about Nick Gage. Like literally everybody here on the show is so excited about Nick Gage being here. I definitely am. So here's just a fun fact, guys. I'm going to kick you guys off with a fun fact. Nick Gage gives some great hugs, everybody. Nick Gage gave me a hug one time, and it was one of the best hugs I ever got. I was in shock. So there you go. Fun fact for the evening. All right, so here we go, guys. So we're going to kick things off. Let's talk about CM Punk. And then we're going to kick off into the actual opening segment of the show. So I'm very curious to get your reactions here about the news that broke today. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Wrestling posted on Fightful Select that AEW is definitely having conversations with CM Punk about a possible in-ring return. And immediately the second that news was put out there, everybody lost their minds. It was trending on Twitter. Everybody, myself included, a lot of people started fantasy booking. I don't blame you whatsoever. I am a big CM Punk fan. CM Punk is in my top 3. It's Jericho, CM Punk, Kurt Angle, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels are my favorite wrestlers of all time, okay? And so for me, when I heard about this news, I was like, hell yeah, this is so cool. Obviously there is no timetable yet for him even signing with AEW. That has not been confirmed. That's not the story here. I know a lot of people, even myself, were jumping to conclusions here thinking oh my God, does that mean he signed to AEW? No. As of right now, he definitely has not. That is the report that Shawn put out there, that they are having conversations, but as of right now, he does not know of a deal being made yet. He does not know of an actual timetable or any of that information. All we know is that there is definitely conversations, and apparently the conversation seems serious enough to actually be put forth out there into the public. So obviously with that, everybody can jump to theories as to whether or not they're going to expect a CM Punk, in Dynamite, or I know a lot of people are guessing maybe even All Out, obviously, since it's in Chicago. We do not know yet, but I think we can all sort of cross our fingers and really, really hope about that. I know I am selfishly, because I am going to be at the show, so I would love to see if that were to happen, and I hope it does, because again, I'm a big CM Punk fan. But what did you guys think when you guys heard this announcement? Are you guys not getting your hopes up? Because this is not the first time that we sort of seen stories like this, where it's like, okay, there's a possibility of CM Punk, coming in. Like, we've been hearing all of these rumors. This isn't the first time we've heard of him in AEW possibly having these conversations. So what did you guys all think about this? So we actually have a super chat. This one is from Crippleface Jenkins, who says, Chavo though, ? The child in me absolutely popped when Chavo was announced. Viva la raza. I was not expecting Chavo Guerrero whatsoever. I wasn't expecting Nick Gage whatsoever. I wasn't expecting the CM Punk news whatsoever. When I tell you guys that news is coming every direction, it's legit, man. News is coming in every direction. Thank you so much to Jenkins for sending this in. We will go in depth more about Chavo Guerrero once we actually get to a segment here. So let's see what you guys are saying here. Let's see what we got. Let's read some comments here. I'm going to pull this one up from, all right, I got so many, guys. I'm trying to pick some of these out here. This one's from Wrestle War, who says, I really think that CM Punk didn't sign with AEW when it first started because he wanted to see if they were legit first. And I mean, if that was the case, obviously we don't necessarily know his reasons. I can't speak for him. None of us can speak for him. But if that was the case, then I don't think I blame the guy, because how many times don't these promotions get this hype and you never really know if they're actually going to last? Obviously, AEW Dynamite is looking like they're lasting, given everything that they have done since their launch, since their commencement. We have another super chat, a big one from Sampai Boone, who says, did Daniel Bryan signed with AEW tonight? So apparently Body Slam is reporting that Daniel Bryan has signed with AEW, and I did see that Sean Ross Sapp did say that that it seems he was not able to confirm it as of yet, at least the last time that I saw what was going on Twitter and all of this. So I am going to kind of wait to kind of get excited about that. If I hear Dave's confirm it, or I hear Sean confirm it, or I hear AEW or Daniel Bryan confirm it themselves, I'm going to kind of hold off on the excitement there because I just want to make sure that this is for sure legit. So we'll see. I'm sure the details will be out soon if that is the case. And if it is, guys, this is so exciting. I mean, if we see, we're living right now in a possibility where not only are we getting this, interaction with all of these wrestling promotions working with one another, but there's a possibility we might be seeing CM Punk and Daniel Bryan in AEW. I mean, come on, think about that. That's just wild. And so personally, I would like to see it, but I am definitely going to go ahead and wait until those things are actually confirmed. Let's see. Someone also said, okay, yeah, so I'm going to wait to see when this actually gets confirmed here, because I know there's a lot of people saying that different people confirmed it, but I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that. But we actually have another super chat. This one is from Daniel Zambrano. Thank you so much to Daniel, who says, pop so hard for Gage. Can't believe we are getting Jericho Gage on TV. Good luck for Nick. Hope he keeps it together. Deserves recognition for his dedication to pro wrestling. Yeah, dude, honestly, the guy has, had a life, a wild life. Again, if you guys have not seen his Dark Side of the Ring episode, I would definitely recommend it, because there was so much in that documentary that I did not know about Nick Gage. Obviously, I knew the bullet points, the bullet points of his story, the outline of his life, but I did not know any of the other stuff that was brought in there. And so that was very, very entertaining to see. We have another super chat from Nathaniel Simpson, who says, Denise tweeted out saying Daniel Bryan has signed with AEW. Okay, first of all, Denise Salcedo has not tweeted this out. I don't know if there's another Denise out there, but this Denise Salcedo has not tweeted out about Daniel Bryan signing with anybody. Guys, I don't get that kind of information, all right? I'm in here just talking about what we see on the shows. If I was out here breaking news, it'd be a totally different story here. Let's see what else we got here. We got so many comments about this. All right. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual show. Again, you guys send in your comments because I will be pulling them up as we run through the entire show. I am going to bring up this comment here. This one's from Augustine, who says AJ Lee should sign with AEW. So obviously, after what we heard with CM Punk possibly having these conversations with AEW and all of that, a lot of people were like, oh my God, what does this mean for AJ Lee? Like, what does this mean for AJ? Obviously, we do not know. But I think we can't help but to at least get a little bit excited fantasy booking the possibility of AJ Lee coming back to wrestling. And if she were to come to AEW, and I mean, come on, they need more women, and they would like thrive with somebody like AJ Lee. Imagine AJ Lee, Britt Baker. Okay, there you go. I'm getting all ahead of this, but for reals, guys, we do not know because again, we don't know what AJ Lee, is up to. But obviously, as fans, we can't help but to get excited for all of this. All right, everybody, well, let's go ahead and jump into AEW itself because so much happened. All right, so we opened up this show with obviously we have Fyter Fest Night 2. We opened up with Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears, the first of 5 labors here today. And MJF joins commentary here tonight. And the second MJF joins commentary, I thought, all right, things are going to be said. This is going to be great because we don't get MJF very often on commentary. So having him join commentary was very fun. Right off the bat, hold on, we got a comment from Nathaniel who says that Fightful tweeted it out. Did they really already? I didn't see that. All right, apparently people are... All right, I'll probably check afterwards. So thank you so much to Nathaniel Simpson for letting me know. I can't multitask. I'm not great at multitasking here, but thank you so much to Nathaniel for sending this in. We have another super chat from Jay Payan 421 who says, a penny for Cole Cabana's thoughts on sharing a locker room with CM Punk. Well, that is definitely, again, guys, we do not know that CM Punk has signed with AEW just yet. That has not been confirmed. They are having conversations, but again, because we know the history and everything that went down with the former friends that were CM Punk and Cole Cabana, obviously we can't help but to wonder how that would go. I mean, I would hope that things would be okay between them, but I don't know the personal, relationship between them now. So thank you so much to Jay Payan 421 for sending this in. We have another super chat from Ryan Smith who says, with the big rumor Daniel Bryan signing with AEW, who are some dream matches off the top of your head? Well, obviously, right off the top of the head, off the top of my head, I think we're all thinking, somebody like Kenny Omega. I definitely want to see Hangman Page. I mean, it is literally unlimited because you could even go down, even lower on the roster, and there's so many other guys that, are so versatile on the AEW roster that you can have matches with Daniel Bryan. I mean, there are a lot of options to be had. Even Jungle Boy, obviously, look at the match that he had with Kenny Omega. That's somebody to not be, forgotten about. We have another super chat from Crippleface Jenkin who says, the IWGP title changing hands on AEW television is huge for wrestling. I don't think people understand how big this is. Absolutely revolutionary moment in wrestling. So Jenkins, I was not expecting a title change whatsoever during the Lance Archer John Moxley match. I kind of was taken aback. I mean, obviously with the finish, once I saw him choke slam John Moxley onto the barbed wire tables, that's when I realized it was ending. And then even when the announcement was made, I was like, oh shoot, I can't believe this. So I was definitely not expecting that at all here today. I think that was one of the matches where I just automatically assumed that we were going to be having John Moxley win here. All right, guys. So here we go. Let's continue talking about this opening match with Chris Jericho and Shawn Spears because, again, I mentioned that MJF was on commentary. Right off the bat, he makes a joke about Chris Jericho's physique, saying that he's not pregnant, he's not giving labor. I did think that was kind of funny that he made that joke there. But the crowd was absolutely hot for this match. They were hot for the entire show, but really this match, I mean, Jericho, I mean, if anybody ever questioned whether or not Jericho is still over, he clearly is, because the people were losing their minds here tonight. So the stipulation of this match, as you guys know, the first labor was essentially Shawn Spears was the only one that can actually use the chairs here. So Jericho, we see Jericho chop Spears multiple times. Spears slams him. Jericho gets him in the walls of Jericho. The crowd goes nuts when he hits the walls of Jericho here. Then we see Tully intervene, and he distracts the referee, Aubrey. And then during this time, Jericho still has the walls of Jericho on Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears actually taps here, but because the referee was distracted, she was not able to see the tap there. So Sammy Guevara comes out, and he essentially kind of pulls down Tully from distracting the referee, and he essentially eliminates Tully from this picture here. Spears then hits Chris Jericho with the C4, but Jericho still ends up winning this match. I think for the most part, given the fact that, you know, we're all curious as to what the second, the third, the fourth labors are going to be. I don't think anybody here expected Chris Jericho to lose in the first labor against Shawn Spears. So heading into this, we all knew that Jericho was going to win, but the match itself, and because the crowd was so hot, it was very entertaining, and it didn't matter that we knew that Jericho was winning. It was more so of how are they going to turn the story around to have Chris Jericho actually win here. So post-match, guys, this is where the announcement is made of Nick Gage, okay? So post-match, we have MJF comes out, and he basically tells Chris Jericho, like, if any of your guys get involved in your future matches and your future labor matches, then I will not essentially do this match with you if you make it all the way through. Like, you're done. You're not gonna wrestle me, etc. So he made it clear that he does not want to see any members of the inner circle come out and help Chris Jericho in any more of these labors. And he even goes as far as to call Sammy his glorified young boy. I thought that was a really good line there. But anyways, he then goes on to say that next week, in a no DQ match that he is going to face, and he starts pumping up, like he starts, you know, obviously building to this announcement. He starts saying like, oh, like one of the baddest, toughest guys. I forget the exact verbatim that MJF used here. But then the second that he said that he robbed a bank, that was when everybody was like, oh my God, it is Nick Gage. To be honest, I thought it was going to be another member of the Pinnacle. But no, it ended up being Nick Gage, and Nick Gage comes out. And I know a couple of weeks ago, I think people were asking me like, oh, do you think we're going to see Nick Gage in AEW? And I was like, nah, probably not. Boy, was I completely wrong. But this was really cool because, again, he was not somebody that we expected, but he is somebody that has buzz in his name. And I think it's going to be really cool, especially the fact that it's a no DQ match against Chris Jericho. I think that they're going to have a really, really fun match, and it's going to be very, very exciting. And I'm excited to see where they go from here with Nick Gage, and if we're going to see him even more so on AEW, but we'll find out. We have a super chat from Khaled Adam who says, hi, Denise. I find it funny how Chavo got a bigger pop than Andrade tonight. Well, the reason for that is, you know, nobody was expecting Chavo Guerrero. So he's obviously going to get a pop, you know, because he was a surprise. So because he was a surprise, he's going to get that pop. I don't necessarily think that's like that's something bad towards Andrade. It's just that nobody was expecting Chavo Guerrero. So no matter what, whoever was going to come out, they were going to get a reaction. But thank you so much to Khaled Adam for sending in this super chat here. All right, guys. And someone has a funny comment here. This one's from Tom Foolery, who says, Gage, Page, and Cage on Rampage. AEW is definitely getting a lot of people with us, similar names, rhyming names, etc. We have a comment from Major Blood here who says, I honestly thought all the labors of Jericho were going to be the Pinnacle members. So while I'm not a fan of Nick Gage's deathmatch wrestling, I was honestly pleasantly surprised Gage showed up. Dude, I'm with you on this one. I also thought that it was just going to be the Pinnacle members. I thought it was just going to be like the different Pinnacle members every week with like odd stipulations. Like that's what I was truly expecting. So the fact that they threw us a curveball and gave us this surprise, I'm wondering if like the third and fourth labor are going to still be surprises, or if we're going to go back to it being the Pinnacle members. And I'm kind of glad that it's also not only the Pinnacle members, because I don't want the Pinnacle to essentially get buried here. At the end of the day, they're still the heel faction. You still want to get them over as well. And they're not going to get completely over if every week a different member from the Pinnacle is getting beat by Jericho when they clearly have the advantage in the stipulation. So I don't necessarily want to see the Pinnacle essentially get buried here. I still think that there is a lot that they can do with the Pinnacle if they keep continuing to build them up as a strong heel faction. So we'll see what happens with all of that. And we do have another super chat from Christopher Marino. Thank you so much to Christopher, who says that his prediction is that Matt Cardona shows up and costs Gage the match. That would be interesting, because you also said, Chris Jericho did mention that, MJF did mention that he doesn't want any of Chris Jericho's buddies from the inner circle to essentially come out and help him out. But Matt Cardona is not in the inner circle. So that could kind of be, a segue, like not a segue, but it could essentially get him out of that. So I could possibly see that working. So thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending this in. Also, guys, BTW, last week on our show, Christopher Marino did send in a super chat that I was unable to read because he sent it in as I ended the stream. Christopher Marino, I did not forget. I actually wrote down your super chat. So last week, the Darby Allin Ethan Page match was absolutely fantastic. And I did get a super chat from Christopher Marino who said that, quote, "This was a proud dad moment with the coffin match," and that he got his son to watch to this week's show. His son is tuned in to watch this week's show because of last week's coffin match with Darby Allin. So thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending in last week's super chat and then also this week's super chat. And all right, guys. So oh my God, we got so many people here that are obviously excited for the match with Gage and Cardona as well. So that is going to be very, very excited. And we have a funny comment from Bubba, who says Cardona will assist Jericho to fuck with Gage. Yes. Oh man, hell yeah. Let's do this, guys. And all right, we're going to go ahead and move on in the meantime from this, everyone. But overall, thumbs up on Nick Gage. I'm excited. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Like, I don't know how else to tell you this, but I mean, if you weren't here for like my if I did my Slammiversary show on Fightful, actually, but if you tuned into that one, you know that I love the violence. I love the blood. I love these types of matches. I loved seeing Nick Gage and GCW. And I was a ring announcer for Suburban Fight, which is no ring, no rules. So like literally, guys, I would see guys like Darby, guys like Nick Gage, Orange Cassidy did a show, Joey Janela. Like there were so many different guys that were on that show that I got to work with. And I saw them do crazy stuff because they were essentially fighting like in like bars and nightclubs and all of this. So I've seen the creativity that these guys can bring to the table. And on top of that, I'm a fan of this type of stuff. Like tonight's main event, oh, I loved it. My match of the week was Sami Callihan versus Kenny Omega. So I am totally interested in all of the, this death match type of stuff, but we'll go ahead and move on here. All right, guys, here we go. So we are going to go ahead and move on to, so actually before we move on to this, we did get a promo later on from Chris Jericho where he says that because MJF decided to bring someone so violent and so demented like Nick Gage, that he is going to bring the most violent, the most demented version of himself, the Painmaker. So the Painmaker, Jericho that'll be the version of himself that he's going to be bringing in next week. Alrighty, everyone, BTW, before we move on to the next segment here, I want to remind you guys all, if you are enjoying this post show, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram. Any word that you guys can to spread how you guys feel about my show. If you like it, let the people know. If you don't like it, don't tell anybody that you don't like my show, all right? Let's keep that on the down low. But anyways, make sure you guys go ahead and help me spread the word. It really does help when you guys like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Also, for those of you who do not know, I am live here 3 times a week. I kick the week off with NXT, and that's been a pretty interesting show, especially based off of the events that occurred on Monday Night Raw. And then I am here for AEW Dynamite, which is my most popular show of the week because everybody likes to talk about Dynamite. And then Fridays, I am back for what I like to call my most relaxed show of the week, and that is Smackdown. But let's go ahead and move on to the next match. We had Frankie Kazarian versus Doc Gallows, guys. So this was a pretty good match here. So we had Kazarian essentially, this was, okay, you know what? I'm going to take that back. This was an okay match. This wasn't like a great match. It was okay. So Kazarian tries to chop down, Doc Gallows in the beginning of this. He tries to take him down, but he is unable to take the big guy down here. So for the majority, pretty much this entire match, we see Doc Gallows dominate this entire match. Gallows ends up winning this match. And for the most part, this was kind of like a slow squash here. Post-match, we then see the Good Brothers continue to attack Frankie Kazarian, and then Kenny Omega and Don Callis comes out, and Kenny Omega basically says, like, this is what happens when you mess with the elite. He says that Frankie Kazarian has been a thorn at their side, and they continue to hurt Frankie Kazarian until we get that cowboy shit from Hangman Adam Page. The crowd goes nuts, obviously, because we're all fans of Hangman Adam Page. He comes out, drink in hand, crowd is chanting cowboy shit, and before the elite can essentially have their way with Hangman Page, the Dark Order comes out and has Adam Page's back. So this was a pretty fun segment. Everybody was excited for Adam Page. To be honest, this is my favorite thing on Dynamite right now. The story that they are telling with Page and with Kenny Omega is very exciting, and I cannot wait to see how this unfolds. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm completely sure which language we are heading into with all of this. All right, let's see what we got here. We got so many comments here, and I'm going to get a couple of them. This one is from John Skyrim, who says, Kaz is great, but the match was boring and slow. Crowd was dead. I love the Good Brothers theme, though. To be honest, the only major thing that, like, let's say you're going to fast forward through AEW Dynamite, which I wouldn't suggest it, but let's just say you did. You really just got to watch, like, the post stuff that happened for this match, because the match itself, again, was nothing all of that, wild. And Colette Adams actually asking why they buried Kazarian tonight. Yeah, it wasn't the best showcase of Frankie Kazarian, but it definitely did work for the story that they are trying to tell. So I necessarily wasn't completely, it was what it was here. And let's see what else we got here. And I think I got most of everything here. Yeah, everybody's happy about the Painmaker returning. Completely here for that. Flamethrower says, quote, remind me not to piss off Denise. Yeah, don't piss me off. All right, guys, here we go. We got another super chat. This one is from Charlie Sanchez. Thank you so much to Charlie Sanchez. He says, oh my God, I just caught up with AEW. Andrade and Chavo. Andrade trying to recruit Penta and Rey. I'm proud to be an AEW fan. It makes me proud of being a Mexican American. Well, Charlie Sanchez joined the club. I'm also a fellow Mexican American, which is very exciting. We got people like Thunder Rosa absolutely killing it. I mean, there are so many people, but I just got to make sure to give a shout out to La Mera Mera. But anyways, thank you so much to Charlie Sanchez for sending in this super chat. And we have a comment from Justin Martin, who says that the Dark Order got just as big of a pop as Page. Nice touch that Page and Omega still had no contact, and they should keep it that way. Like, keep the anticipation going. If anything has me like on the edge of my seat, it's definitely this. Like, this is the segment, like, where when I see a Page and Omega and, whatever they're doing on the show, that is the second where I'm like, okay, nobody talk. Let me listen. I'm not going to tweet and write my notes. I'm just going to listen and, really take in the moment here. So thank you so much to Justin Martin for sending in this comment here. And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on. So after this, we also have, actually, I do want to read this comment from the Cooge, who says, AEW Dynamite just flies. It always goes by so fast. I actually felt that this show, even though this show, even though Fyter Fest Night 2 wasn't as good as Fyter Fest Night 1, in my opinion, like as a whole, it went by a lot faster than Fyter Fest Night 1. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I swear, like this show started, and next thing I knew, I looked at the clock and I was like, oh my God, there's 30 minutes left on the show. And oh my God, now the main event is starting. So it went by really, really fast here. All right, we got a quick promo from Team Taz. As you all know, Ricky Starks is the new FTW champion, won that last week. And basically all they say is that we're going to have a celebration next week in Charlotte. And Brian Cage just says that works out for him. He tells Dasha because he loves celebration. So obviously it looks like Brian Cage is going to come out and ruin Ricky Stark's celebration. So that's probably what we can get at here. But now let's jump into this next match, because somebody that people have been talking about, especially after his match last week with Sammy Guevara, was Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta had a match against Orange Cassidy here. Excuse me, not Orange Cassidy, Darby. Why did I write Orange Cassidy? Oh, that was my bad. Sorry, guys. Sometimes it happens. Like I said, I'm tweeting, taking notes all at the same time here. Things get wild here. But anyway, so we got this match with Wheeler Yuta and Darby, not Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin. And again, after his performance last week, I think we can all seriously say that we all wanted to see Wheeler Yuta once again. This guy is smooth in the ring. Like everything he does just looks good. It looks technically good. And you can tell that he's also a guy that can work with different types of guys. It doesn't matter. Like he doesn't have to stick to one style. He can definitely work with different types of guys and keep up with them, which is why I'm personally feeling Wheeler Yuta. And I also feel like a lot of people are feeling him as well because of that here. So again, I was very happy for that. So here we got Darby essentially coming off of that coffin match. Darby Allin is not 100%, obviously. He's not, at the very, best of shape right now. He went through hell and back with Ethan Page during that coffin match. And we all know how that ended with the coffin drop onto the coffin. And we know that must have not been fun to obviously take. He was taped up here today. So obviously Wheeler Yuta was able to get more offense in on Darby than he might have if Darby was, fully, A-okay to go in this match here. But we see Yuta hit a really nice German suplex here, and he has really good bridge work, look really nice. During this match, we do see Sting and Orange Cassidy. That's why I brought up Orange Cassidy. God, Sting and Orange Cassidy interact outside the ring, and essentially this is really funny because they start kicking one another, in Orange Cassidy fashion. We see Sting tap his chest in a very, very slow motion type of way, and then in the end, we end up seeing Darby pick up the win with the coffin drop here. And again, this did not hurt Wheeler Yuta whatsoever. Obviously, we weren't expecting him to, defeat Darby Allin, considering that he is a former TNT champion, has been on a hot streak, and is a draw. So nobody was expecting Wheeler Yuta to win here, but it was still a very good match. After this, we do see the Blade come out and punch Orange Cassidy with the Nuts, and they have a match later on in the night, but we'll talk about that once we actually get there. How did you guys feel about Wheeler Yuta's performance tonight? Any thoughts on that? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and see a couple of comments here. And this is a comment from Daniel who says, I demand the internet wrestling community give me a gif of the Sting lazy chest thump. I'm pretty sure that's gotta be out there already, right? It definitely has to be out there. And the World of Murr wants to know if we're going to be seeing a Sting and Darby breakup coming. I hope not. I think they could still do a little bit more with them together here. We have a comment from C. Nega who says that Wheeler is so cool. And yeah, I totally agree with that as well. And let's see what else we got here. We got another comment from, this one's from Pomi Wrestling, who says, another win for Darby. Yuta looked good again. Love Sting and Cassidy's interactions. A lot of good stuff here. We have a comment from Flamethrower who says, Orange was brutal with those kicks to Sting. Ease up, Orange. He's in his 60s. Those were the most brutal kicks I've ever seen in my life, bro. Yeah, I agree. We have a comment from Bubba who says, not to take away from the Yuta and the Yuta match, but Sting with the orange Cassidy shtick, the lazy chest beating. Oh my God, 10 out of 10. So I think for the most part, everybody here definitely enjoyed that little interaction that we got here. We have a comment from Anthony Diaz. Excuse me, a super chat. Thank you so much, Anthony. Anthony says, I'm worried for next week, Chris fighting Nick Gage. Damn you, we all should be. If anything, the labors that MJF is imposing on Chris Jericho have definitely leveled up. I mean, having this match with Shawn Spears is one thing, and Shawn Spears having the advantage with the chair is one thing, but to now go into this no DQ match with Nick Gage, I mean, he really wants to end this guy. He really wants to end Chris Jericho. So thank you so much to Anthony Diaz for sending in this a super chat. BTW, guys, if you guys want to make sure that I read your comment on the air, if you've sent in something great and I have not seen it, please make sure if you guys want, send in a super chat. I also do get to keep 100% of all proceeds from super chat. So thank you so much to the Wrestling Observer for allowing me that privilege. We have a comment from Pro Wrestling Fan who says, Yuta is for sure signing or at least sticking with AEW because they've put him in a prominent match. They've put him in prominent matches on Dynamite, and he's picked up some good wins on Dark. And I like that. I really, really like that. I would not be against that whatsoever. All right, we have a funny comment from Tanil who says, let's hope Nick Gage doesn't retire Jericho the way he did Brian Alvarez. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on, though, to the next comment here. Actually, I'll read this one from Sticker Reds who says that there was so much criticism when AEW signed Sting, but my lord, they've gotten their money's worth of him. There was the only criticism that I really had was that I thought they should have kept him more as a special attraction. That was my thing with the whole Sting signing on AEW, but man, his performance at Double or Nothing, I mean, every single person that watched that match was completely blown away by Sting. I mean, every little thing he did garnered a massive pop. I mean, Sting literally brought back a crowd that had kind of died after that Cody Rhodes Anthony Ogogo match, and Sting brought the people back to life. And trust me, I know because I was there. I definitely got to say that they're getting their money's worth with Sting there. So thank you so much to Sticker Reds for sending this in. All right, but let's go ahead and move on to this next match. Guys, so I enjoyed today's show, but I didn't enjoy this match all that much. I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means, but I didn't think this next match was all that great. It was Nyla Rose versus Britt Baker. To be honest, I mean, this match, the only interesting thing about it was Britt Baker, because Britt Baker is so over right now. I mean, the girl is on fire, okay? Sadly, there was not really much of a reaction to Nyla Rose. She got one of the least reactions, I would say, like on the card overall. During this match, we saw Nyla slam Britt into her knee. That was a pretty gruesome spot there. We saw Britt hit Nyla with a DDT. Nyla then hits her with a flying knee drop from the top rope. I thought that was probably the best spot from Nyla of the night here. Then we see Britt stomp Nyla twice on the head, and she ends up going for the pin here, but only gets a 2 count. Then we see Nyla powerbomb Britt after Vicky used the old trick from Eddie Guerrero's playbook where she tries to make it look like Britt was trying to cheat in this match when in reality she wasn't. Then we see Britt get Nyla with the lockjaw here and ends up tapping out. And again, the match itself was not necessarily the best. I think the crowd obviously added to it, and we're going to see that as a common theme. Obviously, with the return of crowds that are very pumped, they're going to add to so much. And it got over really because of Britt Baker. Like, Britt Baker is going to get pretty much anything over. But the first thing that I kept thinking to myself, and I talked about this last week on the show, and I'm going to reiterate it today, was that I really do think we need more hot challengers for Britt Baker because they need to keep the momentum that she has right now. They need to keep it strong. And the only way to do so is by providing her some really hot challengers here. So I put out a tweet and I basically asked people like, hey, who do you think should be facing Britt Baker next? Like, who should really be that person? I had so many comments, but I would say that the names that I saw the most of were definitely Ty Conti, Chris Statlander, got several Thunder Rosa, and maybe a few others that I'm not mentioning right now. But based on the rankings, obviously you have Nyla Rose as number 1. Number 2 is Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker is at the point where they're definitely going to be saving this match, because this match can be a headliner match. So I would not waste it on a Dynamite. So I don't think it's going to be Thunder Rosa next. And then afterwards, the number 3rd ranking, the person at the number 3 spot is Ty Conti. So I think Ty Conti could definitely be next. And then number 4 is Chris Statlander. And number 5 is Shida. So I do hope we get to see Ty or Chris Statlander get a shot at that next, and then possibly Shida. But obviously, Shida just comes off of that, run. So definitely Ty, then Chris, then maybe Thunder Rosa. We'll see. I don't know. What do you guys still think of this? All right, we got a super chat from Anthony Diaz who says, Death Triangle reminds me of Triple X and TNA putting good match each week. Dude, I love the Death Triangle, and we'll talk about them later on in the show. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat, by the way. And I'm going to go through a couple of your comments here. This one's from a live arrival who says they got to split Nyla from Vicky. It's a heat killer. I don't know maybe for some people, I still kind of like their pairing together. I kind of feel bad because I almost feel like they haven't found the right spot for Vicky yet. Like, they had put her in there with Andrade, and clearly the people did not like that. And they clearly, made a change there. And so right now, all she really has is what she's doing with Nyla, and that's what they've been doing. So I almost feel like right now, because we're sort of getting we're getting Nyla out of transitioning out of that, AEW women's picture. I think they do need to keep her with Vicky for now, because if not, it's like, what else do they have kind of going for her? We have a comment from Tanol who says, I didn't mind the match, and I thought the second half was pretty good, where they hit each other with big moves after big moves. I thought the crowd was into it the whole way as well. Again, they were definitely into it, but I definitely think it was because of Britt Baker, obviously. Definitely because of Britt Baker. We have a comment from John who says that Britt needs to work with better workers like Thunder Rosa. Sadly, I like Nyla Rose, but this probably wasn't the best showcase for her that we've seen. We've seen way better Nyla Rose matches is what I'm trying to get up here. And let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Justin who says that Britt trying to steal an old Eddie trick from Odie trick, but Vicky not falling for it was a really funny moment. Definitely the highlight of the match here. Hodge Galache brings up Serena Deeb. We have a lot of people bringing up Serena Deeb. She had an awesome pre-show match on AEW Double or Nothing. So I feel like, and the crowd was definitely hot for Serena Deeb. So I think that she could be somebody as well. And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to read one more comment. This one is from Fruit Bazooka, who says that Nyla Rose will be a huge babyface against even Britt. Crowds go nuts for her on Dark and Elevation. And that's the thing, though, that they didn't go nuts for her here today, at least based on how I read the crowd. I don't think that they necessarily went completely. Never mind. Fruit Bazooka says that he made a mistake. He meant Thunder Rosa. Never mind. In that case, yes, you are right. Thunder Rosa would be a great opponent. Never mind. I thought you were talking about Nyla Rose there. All right. Here we go, guys. We're going to go ahead and move on from this. So we're actually going to move on to the fact that next week, we have Fight for the Fallen, July 28th. I cannot wait. So make sure you guys come in next week. We're going to be chatting all things AEW again. And based on so far what's been announced for Fight for the Fallen, I cannot wait to talk about that show. But we did have like a little mini press conference today between FTR, Santana, and Ortiz. And I kind of was a fan of this. It was sort of brief, but I thought it hit some nice like little bullet points here. We had essentially FTR starts talking about how, like, they bring up a little bit about how they were raised and how they aren't necessarily all that different. But then Ortiz basically tells them like, hey, you guys are just a pit stop until we get to the gold. I love that line. Obviously, I want to see Santana and Ortiz become champions here. And then Santana brings out photos, and he gets really deep and emotional during this promo because he basically brings out photos of his mom who apparently gave birth to him as a teenager. And then he talks about how they grew up and, shows their apartment. We didn't get to see the pictures, but the pictures were there. And I'm assuming FTR could see them from that distance. But overall, this was a pretty hot moment. I liked this, Bill. They obviously confronted one another and then they quickly cut away from this. So we didn't actually get to see them touch or anything like that. But for the most part, this was pretty good. All right. Let's see what we got here. This one is from QQ Going Pew Pew, who says, I'm going to Vegas and putting my money down on Proud and Powerful, winning the titles in Queens. I really do want to see them as champions, guys. I really do. And I think they deserve it, especially everything that they've been doing, as part of the inner circle. I mean, I feel like we've all just sort of been dying to see them in that pivotal spot. And I mean, I'm not even going to go on a rant as to how much I'm a fan of theirs. I'm not even going to go there because I feel like I've gone there so many times, but just know that I'm definitely rooting for them there. All right, guys, here we go. So after this, this is where we got to talk about Chavo Guerrero and everything that went down there. So we had the sit down here with Andrade El Idolo and Tony Schiavone, which was, I thought it was going to be like a sit down, like in the back with some chairs, but apparently that wasn't it. This was, in the actual ring with the crowd and everybody. But Andrade comes out and he basically says that he has a surprise for everybody. And he introduces his new executive consultant, and it ends up being Chavo Guerrero. Obviously, he's going to get a nice reaction. I think a lot of people were expecting Chavo Guerrero. I wasn't expecting Chavo Guerrero. I don't even think I heard his name mentioned anywhere as a rumor or anything like that. So this kind of felt like it went very under the radar. So anyway, so he comes out, and this is going to be interesting because I don't necessarily know how he's going to work as, he's essentially going to be, speaking for Andrade. And based off what we saw tonight, like, it was good. It was fine. His promo work was okay, but he's not a guy that's necessarily known for his promo work. So I am interested to see how all of that is going to play out. And I hope that it does go well. I like Chavo. He's a very nice guy. So I think he could bring a lot of personality to this, but I am curious as to how this is actually going to go down. Now, here's the thing. So we have the Death Triangle come out. I really thought here, guys, and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, but I really felt like during those moments that we were seeing Pac and the Lucha Brothers, like walking towards the ring with Alex and all of that. And when they were talking about family and Andrade was essentially trying to like recruit them, he was basically asking them like, why are you guys with Pac? Like, you guys should be with me, etc. I kind of thought that this was going to be a swerve. I really thought that the Lucha Brothers were going to turn on Pac. And for some reason, the second that I sensed it, it's like now I kind of want to see it happen. I feel like Andrade kind of needs that. I think he even needs it a little bit more than Pac right now. So I do think that would be a very good story to tell. And whether or not it happens, I don't know. But here's the thing though, is if that were to happen and we were to see, Andrade with the Lucha Brothers and Alex, then in that case, they don't really need Chavo in this picture because I feel like what Alex is already doing, like translating and all of that, I feel like he's already bringing to the table what they want Chavo to bring to the table. So I don't necessarily know if that's the direction that they're heading. That's a direction I think would be pretty cool in. And I know a lot of people don't want to see the Death Triangle break up, obviously, because they are pretty cool. And I agree with that. But I do kind of think that right now that Andrade would definitely need something like this. And I feel like you can obviously, have them in a stable, call them whatever you want, and they would definitely get over. I think they'd be a pretty fun act there. So there you go, guys. That was pretty much that that segment there. What did you guys think about Andrade? What did you guys think about the possibility of, what I said with the swerve? And what did you think about Chavo Guerrero? Go ahead and send in your thoughts here. All right, let's see. We got a couple of comments here on this. So many different ones here. All right, so we got one from Jack Farmhouse who says that he's hoping that they turn him down, and it's Andrade, Rush, and Dragon Lee versus Death Triangle. I do not know how much longer Rush. I don't know how long his contract is, his or Dragon Lee's with Ring of Honor. So I don't necessarily know what the time frame for something like that would look like, because again, I don't know how long their contract is for. We have a comment from Pro Wrestling Fan who says it'd be cool to see Lucha Brothers with Andrade, but I love Death Triangle too much. And with COVID and injuries and Pac having to go back to England, they haven't done a lot together and they can do more. Yeah, you are right on that too. Obviously, they can definitely do a lot with them also there. And Smalls Kenobi says Andrade just can't get a break. Advi Devin says, I love Death Triangle too much to see them split up. Andrade and the Lucha Brothers is an enticing trio, though. See, that's a kind of cool thing, though. We got options here. I think that's the nice part, too. We have a comment from El Profesor Junior 88 who says the Lucha Brothers won't join Andrade because of his connection with La Facción Ingobernables. We have another comment from D. Barrett, who says, predicting Dark Order and Page losing, Proud and Powerful and Young Bucks at All Out, Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega at All Out after Page loses again. That is a lot of predictions, D. Barrett. And let's see what else we got. Let's see. This one is from Sean Ciarani, who says Chavo had some of the most hilarious backstage segments in his WCW Cruiserweight division run. He's amazing on the mic, but I often forget about it. And I think that's pretty much what we got here, guys. This one's from R. Riggs, who says, I'm more pumped to see Chavo than I would be for CM Punk. What? I don't buy that. I don't buy that whatsoever. There's no way that you're more excited to see Chavo than CM Punk. There is no way. We have another comment from Alive on Arrival, who says AEW has done a great job of setting up typical wrestling swerves and then going the other way with it. It warms my little jaded Mark heart. That's a very, very nice way of putting it. We have a comment from Michael Hillman, who says Selena De Laurenta would have been a better choice for Andrade. She's a good speaker that Andrade needs. She was definitely one of the names that we pitched on here that we all thought was going to show up. We actually thought that I thought she was going to show up and be like Jade Cargill's manager at one point. That's what I thought there. And we have a funny comment from Jay Payan, who says, I always pop when Denise speaks perfect Spanish. Well, I grew up speaking Spanish and English. I learned English and Spanish at the exact same time. And my grandparents only speak Spanish. And I lived with them for close to 30 years. So, 28 years. Yeah, 28 years. So definitely I'm good at the Spanish, guys. We got a super chat from Crifter C, who says, I don't know if it's just me, but I really think Andrade needs a better theme. I don't think I put that much thought into it, to be honest. Actually, wait, nope. Yes, I did. Actually, Crifter, I was thinking about that today because I kind of felt like it sounded way too generic. It's a very generic theme that really has absolutely no substance whatsoever. So yeah, I do agree with you on this one, Crifter C. And all right, I think I got most of everyone's comments here. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to go ahead and move on from this. And we are going to move on to the fact that next week we are going to be seeing Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus team up to face Angelico and Private Party. And then Tony Khan is apparently going to be making a announcement regarding a major new live event. I'm not sure if he's going to come out and talk about Rampage, or if this is supposed to be about something else other than Rampage. So I'm not completely sure. If you guys have any theories, send them in. But at least to me, it kind of seems like, well, that wouldn't make too much sense because I don't know, guys. See, I was thinking that this might just be like him saying like, hey, guys, Rampage. Obviously, they've been doing the commercials and all of that, promoting the show, and they have mentioned it on commentary, but maybe they want Tony Khan to like actually come out and like promote it even more. So, okay, a lot of people are saying that a 5th pay-per-view, that could definitely be something there. So a lot of people are saying that they're thinking it's a new pay-per-view. Yeah, because I kind of feel like if it was going to be something about like to further promote Rampage, it would kind of feel like a little bit of a net letdown. But since he did say a major new event, and he specified event and not show, so maybe it might be another pay-per-view. I do not know. We'll find out next week. We're also getting the Elite versus Dark Order and Hangman Page next week as well. And all right, guys, let's move on because after this, we had the Blade faced Orange Cassidy, and friendly reminder that obviously the Blade hit Orange Cassidy with the brass knucks before their match even went down. So this match kicked off with Orange Cassidy automatically taking down the Blade with several punches. So this match got started hot and quickly, but the Blade quickly turns the tides here, and Orange Cassidy ends up hitting him with a crossbody and then a DDT. Bunny and Chris Statlander go at it. They start arguing on the outside of the ring. This then causes the Blade to use Chris Statlander as a shield, because Orange Cassidy was trying to do a dive onto the Blade, but then instead, since he used her as a shield, he ends up getting Chris Statlander instead. So then after this, we do see the Blade get the brass knucks, and he almost uses them on Orange Cassidy, but Orange Cassidy is able to avoid them and gets the orange punch for the win. So this was a nice, simple match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story that they are telling here as well. And we have more predictions about what people think the announcement that Tony Khan's going to be making. Wrestle War says a UK show, ? Lenny Banner says, yeah, I think we're due another super show. Oh, they did mention that too when they made the announcement of Rampage, that we were supposed to be having some sort of super show. I forget the details on that, but that was definitely something that was also talked about there. And all right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and move on from this then. All right, guys, BTW, for those of you who are here, friendly reminder, do not forget to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. I just hit 24K today on Twitter, and I'm so excited about it. My goal is to hit 31K by the end of the year, and it is so hard, but I'm trying. I'm putting myself out there. So if you guys haven't followed me just yet, make sure you guys do so. And I obviously promote all of my shows and everything that goes down on there. I do about 1 million shows, guys. 1 million shows a week. I'm actually on a roll right now. I had a show Friday, I had a show Saturday, a show Sunday, a show Monday, a show Tuesday, and a show Wednesday. I'm on a 6-day streak right now. Tomorrow, I do not have a show, but then I'll be back Friday. So I'm on a streak right now, guys. All right, but let's jump into the main event. So the main event was a pretty fun one. Definitely match of the night. This one was a brutal. It was fun. It was gory. We got blood. I was a fan. We had the Texas Deathmatch, Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer. This one was only the rules for this version of the Texas Deathmatch was only winning by knockout or submission here. This one was really good here. All right, guys. So right off the bat, we see, and obviously it was for the IWGP US Championship. I should mention that as well. Right off the bat, we see kendo stick shots. We see them brawl into the crowd. They go up the steps. That must have been really fun for obviously the live audience, the people that were there. Lance Archer uses a fan, quote unquote fan, as a weapon. Moxley stabs Archer with a fork. And when I tell you guys that the fork was the most over thing, it definitely was. That fork was definitely over. They hit each other with chairs, with trash bins. Oh, I was so annoyed when we went to picture-in-picture for this, though, because during the picture-in-picture, I can see Jon Moxley using that fork, and I was like, ooh, I want a big version of that, but we had the picture-in-picture. But anyways, we come back. Both guys are completely busted open. Archer hits a ripcord on Moxley. We then see a chokeslam from Moxley. Okay, so Lance Archer chokeslams Moxley onto 2 chairs, but the chairs are sort of placed together back to back. So Jon Moxley's back just lands right at the top of both of these chairs. And I could just imagine that spot felt brutal. That must have definitely hurt. Then we see Moxley with the fork once again. Then Moxley brings out the tables with the barbed wire. Archer gets him with the fork once again. Archer then chokeslams Moxley onto the barbed wire tables for the win. Moxley essentially gets counted out here because he gets stuck onto the actual barbed wire. So that is how this match ends. And we end up having a new IWGP US champion in Lance Archer. And all I got to say here is that Lance Archer really needed this victory, guys. Like, Lance Archer, for the most part, has kind of been floating around on the AEW roster on the show. He's had that like little stint with Sting, and then that kind of got confusing, and he's been doing these promos that were like A-okay, but nothing really much has happened with Lance Archer. Like, we've been getting teases of Lance Archer doing different stuff on the roster, but nothing has hit home as much as this. He really needed this match. He really needed this win. And obviously now holding the championship, I can only imagine that we're probably going to get a rematch maybe at the Resurgence show between Lance Archer and Jon Moxley. I don't know, but I can only imagine that they are going to do a rematch. But either way, this was really cool. And then immediately after we saw Hikuleo, and I hope I said that correctly, he comes out and he essentially confronts Lance Archer because they're going to be having a match next week at Fight for the Fallen. And he is a legit like 7-foot guy. So he made Lance Archer essentially kind of look like pretty small. And Lance Archer is not a small guy by any means. So this is a very fun and new way to end the show. And again, this was something that I was definitely surprised about. I did not expect for the title to change hands tonight. So what did you guys think of the main event? Send in your thoughts, everybody. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm kind of pull up a couple of comments here. Let's see. We got one from Lenny who says, next week, don't dismiss Hikuleo. He's not just a son of Haku. He's tied to the Bullet Club with Jay appearing. Sorry, I lost your comment. All right. He goes, with Jay appearing tomorrow night, but don't be shocked if next week he has some serious Bullet Club shenanigans next week. Yeah. Based on how the show ended tonight, they really kind of hyped up the match for next week. It was a very simple way to hype up the match itself. Comment from Tanol who says, we all know how big Archer is, but to see him looking up at Hikuleo was just eye-popping moment to me. It definitely stood out. The size, when someone is taller than Lance Archer, it is definitely going to it's going to definitely stand out, excuse me. So that was really, really fun here. Joseph Boza says, nobody expected Lance to become a 2-time U.S. champion. We have a super chat from Reggie Simmons. Thank you so much to Reggie who says, just showing support. Love all of your shows. Man, thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. That's very, very exciting to hear. So thank you so much to Reggie Simmons here. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments, but I think we got most of everything. All right, this one's from Pomi Wrestling who says, that's got to be the most fast-paced last man standing match I've ever seen. Happy to see Archer get a major win and receive a loud reaction. Also, man, Hikuleo is tall. Hell yeah. And I think we got mostly everything here, guys. Again, I'm going to read one final comment. This one's from Justin Martin, who says, this was a spectacular, violent chaos. Obviously, the biggest win of Archer's AEW career. I would argue his best match. I feel like this was the one where I was like, this is the best match that I have seen from Lance Archer. Like, I'm sure there's probably another one that I'm not thinking about at the top of my head right now, but this one definitely stands out. Or maybe it's even the fact that we haven't seen Lance Archer have such an amazing singles match in a very long time. But Justin Martin also adds, those choke slams onto the standing chairs and the barbed wire tables were both brutal spots. I almost feel like Jon Moxley saw that Sami Callihan Kenny Omega match and he was like, I can top that. And then he saw the WWE men's Money in the Bank ladder match, saw the crazy spots those guys took, and he was like, I can top that. So I almost feel like he was very, very ready for tonight's show. And even Ethan Page, Darby Allin last week, I feel like all of everything that he was seeing definitely got Jon Moxley saying like, I'm going to show you guys here. Last and final super chat. This one is from Daniel Zambrano. Thank you so much to Daniel, who says, this helps New Japan with all the problems in Japan. They have titles and wrestlers on national American TV. Everyone wins. It's definitely keeping their name going there, like you mentioned, with American television and all of that. So good super chat here. Thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending this in. All right, guys, there you go. What a night. So much news, and I feel like more is still to come. So keep an eye out on, wherever you guys choose to get your stuff out, get your information from. But seriously, guys, make sure that you subscribe to F4W Online Wrestling Observer here on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to the audio version, if you're watching on Twitch, or if you're already watching on the YouTube channel, make sure you guys subscribe. We are making our way towards 100K. I would love to help make that happen as well. So make sure you guys subscribe, and then just know that I am on here 3 times a week, and I simulcast both on Twitch and YouTube, and then the audio version up on the website. But I am, covering NXT, AEW Dynamite, and Smackdown. So it's a lot of content, and I hope you guys have a good time enjoying all of those shows. They are very interactive. And I love coming out here to chat with all of you guys. But there you go. That is our show. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome night. And I hope you guys enjoyed AEW Dynamite. And I hope you guys enjoyed Speak Now Pro Wrestling. And I will see you this Friday for some Friday night Smackdown conversation. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.